Oh. Hello. Ooh, reverb. I love a bit of reverb.
Can I get a reverb? Okay, I'm going to start again. Wait, it's not.
Oh.
Okay, go. Hey.
Hi, Victor. How are you?
I'm fine.
How's your day been? What have you been up to this weekend? You refused to answer this question.
I told you. I went, did I do something on... Maybe I did something on Sunday, maybe?
I always think you lead a more interesting life than you.
That's true. Yeah, you're not wrong.
So why are we here today, Victor? We're here to continue discussions about heated rivalry episodes.
Yeah.
I can't do that. I'm actually really pissed off at you guys listening because that episode is doing really, really well. And now I have like hockey podcasts suggested.
Really?
Yes.
Are they going to be like a bunch of straight guys into heated rivalry now?
No, I think it's. I don't know. I hope they're like gay hockey podcasts because I'm sure those exist.
Oh my god. There's too many niches.
I know. Okay, let's actually do this because I had a suggestion. I was like, we should come back and talk about more gay shit because people seem to like it when we do that.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, does that mean we have to continue our discussion about heated rivalry? But I will say the discourse about it has continued on.
About heated rivalry?
Yes, and it has been driving me a bit crazy. I just did not... I need you guys to stop talking about it. Have you been exposed to any of it?
No.
Did you not see the Jordan Firstman thing?
You made me look that up. And that's it. And it didn't seem that interesting to me. What was of interest about that
Okay,
to you?
to me, what was really interesting is the way it ignited a firestorm online with the fandom of heated rivalry.
Were they really mad at him?
Sorry, yeah, they were really mad at him, and he ended up coming out with an apology video. And like, a part of me is like, okay, I understand the
Apology video.
A picture? I don't know, whatever. Here's my thing. Yeah, he was really annoying with his critique. I thought the critique was said in like a bitchy way, which is like fine. I missed that in culture, to be honest.
I kind of agreed with what he was saying, kind of. He wasn't very, from what I saw, he wasn't very eloquent,
What was his point? That his point was that like, that is not really gay sex, and that it's like lacking the intimacy that he associates with gay sex.
Oh, is that what he was saying?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought he was saying that, and you know better than me. I just thought he was saying that it was not gay. And yeah, like, this is unrelatable content.
I do think that's mainly his point.
Yeah.
I do think mainly his point is that, like, we don't know about the sexuality of these actors, and that doesn't feel very real to his experience.
I thought it was more the story of the show that I didn't think felt very real. Like, I'm sure it happens, but it's like infinitesimally small. So that's what I was kind of agreeing with.
Yeah.
That was not said. the statement that was not said that I agreed with was...
I mean, I don't have the quote right in front of me, so it might have been in there. I mean, I don't know. For me, I don't necessarily agree with him. I don't necessarily disagree with him. I think if anyone's listened to our previous episode about heated rivalry, there'll be some intersection there. What I find interesting is like the way that discourse about the gay and straight actors playing gay roles keeps coming up. Because I think we kind of said, I said, that is not something I really care about anymore. And I figured maybe we could talk about that a bit more.
Yeah, it's not something I...
Why not? Why don't you care if like...
I do care actually a bit, but I wouldn't care if gay actors were getting the roles.
Right.
And I feel like we're in a situation where we are, so I'd actually care less. I do care like a lot less
because you think there's a lot of gay actors out there working.
Yeah, who are openly gay and are working.
Yeah, I mean, I hear that. I think there could be more, obviously.
I think there could be more.
But my thing is, why is this critique when there's a much more obvious one up there? You know, it's just like, oh, look, it's another two white presenting gays being idolized, you know? Regardless of whether it's the actual sexuality of the actors or not. Like, to me, that is the problem. I think we were talking about that a lot last time. How, like, this is maybe the 4th to 5th show we could think of that's this line or this genre, but can we think of a show like this featuring a black queer couple?
Yeah, absolutely.
Or an Asian queer couple, or whatever. You know?
I've not one.
Or one where there isn't, and look, I love Interview with the Vampire, but one where half of the equation isn't white. You know?
I still haven't seen that.
You should. It's really good. But
even that is that some
well, I mean, like I said, half of the equation is white.
Is it a quarter of the equation is white? Is it a beige situation? Coming from a beige man.
That's another problem, though. Yes, we get the whole paper bag problem.
Yeah,
you know,
coming from a paper bag man.
Your paper bag girl.
Yeah.
No. Well, you know, genuinely though, that is okay. So when we do have like a drop of diversity,
it's one drop.
It's one drop.
It's one drop.
And I find it interesting the way that that's not what people are talking about. They're talking about this other thing because it feels like an easier critique to make.
Oh, but that's fangirl culture though, isn't it? You get
We're not going to address the actual problem because it might just like...
Well, no, but just fangirl culture is like, oh, some bitch came for my show and blah, blah, blah. Do you know what I mean? It's that kind of Taylor Swift fan, Swiftie.
Yes. Okay, so we said all this. On the other hand, the aspect of that Jordan Firstman statement that I disagreed with is the idea that, like, we can't have a gay fantasy. You know how I think I said this to you, I say this to you every time I talk to you, where I'm just like, people should be more cheesy. People should be more into embracing the sentimental, you know? Because life is so shit that we need some fantasy, and that's okay. So, like, a part of me...
Fantasy doesn't make me feel good. Fantasy makes me feel further... If I feel kind of a distance between me and the media, the media I'm seeing, it's like, it makes me feel gross. It makes me feel like sad. I want to remember that life is ugly. I want to remember that life is funny.
You want reflections on life in your
Potential segue time. No?
Not yet. Okay, go on.
Potential segue time, just because I've got a great segue here, I don't want to waste it. That's what I enjoyed so much about Pillion.
Which is what we're actually here to talk about, yes.
But let's get back to your thing.
No. I think we can fold that in here. I mean, we'll have things to say about Pillion in a second. But I do think there is a space for fantasy. There is a space for an exploration of just desire as you want it to be. I think that should exist. And I don't begrudge people for liking it. I'm surprised at how it's become such a booming topic. And I think it's ultimately probably good that there's something gay on screens that people are liking, especially in this time when, you know, you have Paramount trying to buy HBO and like probably want to eliminate that because of their alleged political leanings. I do think there's a space. I think it's good to have these like kind of outlets.
Yeah, I think generally it's good. I guess I can't begrudge someone enjoying
something. Long as, especially if that something isn't actually like doing harm directly.
Yeah.
Its harm is kind of like incidental, which is harm that me as a media critic, right? Yeah. And I always say that I think that even if something is good representation, and even if something like Heated Rivalry, given I think the people involved, even if the actors are straight, then I think we can still put them in the category of allies, right? And
although, are they straight? Because I saw...
Well, regardless, I mean, what I'm saying is like it doesn't matter because like this is a queer work that they're attempting, and that is a work of allyship. But I think what is important for us to do is to continue critiquing it because the way we get good representation or the representation that we want, or not even that, the way that we continue getting good representation, continue getting better representation is by holding people's feet to the fire. Holding the thing that everybody loves and saying, okay, but this, and this, so that the next thing that comes will have this and this that we need. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I feel like that is the thing that people are missing. Critique is good.
Yeah.
You know, we're not saying burn this... Lupe's running around.
Yeah, that's my cat.
We're not saying like burn this whole show or, you know, put it... Actually, maybe I'm saying... I'm kidding. But we're not saying that. But what we're saying is that, no, you should engage. You should spot the things that are bad about the work that you really love. The things that you can improve about the works that you really, really love, you're really excited for. So to all the Fujos, we support you. We support you. We are with you. And we demand better, not just for you, but so that I can Fujo out too.
Yeah.
I want to be part of this moment because, you know, I hate missing a thing. I want to love this as much as you do. But, you know, I need it to elevate beyond the cocky boys tenets and just like expand a little bit.
Yeah, I would think that like the more the better, because then the more diverse like the things will get. But that just hasn't been happening.
It hasn't, and that's why I'm going to continue to beat the drum.
Big black gay thing that I can think of off the top of my head is Moonlight.
Yeah,
and
which is I think we should also... this is the thing I keep saying. Yes, it is
no
a queer
one's
text.
clipping that one hand job scene on the beach.
No.
And putting that on Twitter.
No, and it's that Moonlight is a while ago.
And it was a while ago. It was very like prestige, very respectable. It wasn't this kind of semi-sleazy kind of... Not sleazy. Sleazy is a strong word that is not good.
Mainstream.
Actually.
It wasn't like down for like
it was
a wide
kind of
audience.
this indie mainstream kind of.
That broke.
Yeah, and then like... as opposed to kind of this thing that's meant to titillate, where you're meant to see these people as enticing sexual objects. You know what I mean?
And I think on that point, you were saying earlier about how like you don't particularly gravitate towards fantasy because like it makes you feel... it feels distant. Am I reading that right?
Yeah, it just doesn't feel real. So I get actually a huge number of, from what I've seen, which is very limited compared to what you've seen, but appears to be largely women that are into heated rivalry.
Yeah.
Or like at least like a huge chunk.
Which is why I think last episode I said this kind of feels like a show made for women who are into sexualizing sort of gay men, which is a thing.
Yeah, which is fine. But, I can kind of see the fantasy in something that you would never be a part of. Like, you're never going to be involved in this act. So, yeah, go for it. Like, get this, like, roided up. Do you know what I mean? No, not roided up. Sorry, that's rude. But, like, yeah, these two kind of people...
Ken dolls. These two Ken dolls.
Put them
together and, like, have
with this crazy lighting and, you know what I mean?
Like,
because it's the lighting, it's the music. It's not just them. It's, like, it's everything. It's the eroticism around... the relationship and the situation that I think is the thing that distances me the most. The secrecy, exactly.
And also and I will say, I think we can, or I'll make this argument that maybe also there's like a sexualization of like the plight of the queer, the gay. There's something like sexy about it. Yeah. Which like I think what we said, the thing about the show is that we don't want to say it's bad, but like it's so completely not for us, and that's fine.
Yeah, and there's just so much distance from me.
With fantasy.
Yeah, well, from that is such a fantasy to me because, like, who's living like in general, who is living like that? It's just completely, you know what I mean? It's like an infinitesimally small number of people living like that. Like, why are we interested in this story?
It's really interesting because, like, the idea of, like, the fantasy, I can see the appeal for me. And speaking of Jordan Firstman, we had been talking about this as well, where, I mean, his movie, Rotting in the Sun, which came out a few years ago. And can you give, like, a little description of it?
I don't know if I can, actually. I'll try. It's like a...
Sebastian Silva, I believe, directed and starred in.
Yeah. So he's this kind of nihilistic, jaded, gay film director in Mexico City who's kind of addicted to drugs. Is that... You've seen it more recently than me.
Yeah, like he's addicted to ketamine.
Yes, he's addicted to ketamine. Of course he is. And he goes to gay...
island.
Yeah, like kind of beach
Mexico.
resort in Mexico. I don't remember anymore. It's been about a year and a half since I've seen it. And he meets Jordan Firstman, who's this kind of vapid influencer who...
traps him into working with him.
Yeah, who's trying to work with him. But then they go back to Mexico City. I think I'm going to stop it there.
Yeah,
they go back to Mexico City and a bunch of things happen. It really spirals. It's really interesting.
Yeah.
And it's very sexually explicit.
One of the things
it's unsimulated.
One of the things that's known about this film is the fact that it features unsimulated sex.
Yeah, unsimulated sex.
And it features, I think, it's actually not very relatable. I was watching it. And
I found it.
Yeah,
I've done.
I know, but like I think.
Not that I've done any of this stuff.
For me,
I found it much closer to real life than. There was a lot to relate to. I think actually it is kind of the defining gay film of our generation right now. It really kind of sums up this gay disillusion, this kind of drugged up gay disillusion that I think a lot of people are going through right now. That even I want to distance myself, publicly distance myself from it somewhat.
Sure.
But there are people in my life that are like that.
Yeah.
I do feel that at times. You know what I mean? Like,
I could see the reality of it. Your point about fantasy is why I brought this movie up, because on the point of sex and gay sex, which is why I brought it up, because I think one of the big things about this film is this depiction and representation of gay sex, but also relationships between gay men. And I think you're right about the point that there's a lot of realism in there. I find that distancing somehow because it's not really my own lived in reality, but it's a reality that I know exists in the margins of friend groups and all that stuff. And I don't hold judgment for it or anything like that, but like it's not... It's not the scene that I want to be in. You know what I mean? So because of that, I watch it and I feel like, oh yeah, this is so far from me and my day-to-day and my own feelings about desire and like relationships and also like queer relationships. But I know that exists.
Well, I find it to be kind of a bit of a cautionary tale to some extent. Like it's something that feels kind of very close, but it also really captured the kind of... just how depressing that kind of lifestyle is.
I think that's kind of a big part of it, is that it is really depressing.
Yeah, or it can be depressing when that's... I think that was the thing for me, the main thing for me about that film. Like these sex parties, these gay beach resorts or whatever, they're not necessarily bad in
They're not necessarily bad or good.
bad or good. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just, you know, sex is just an act.
I think
But
the thing that can I
it's
just say this while you're on this, just because the thing that I find distancing, I think, is that sadness in it, because I find in like my queer relationships, sexual or not, a lot of joy.
Yeah.
And a lot of healing. But this is a negative aspect of it, which does exist and I recognize exists.
And
But,
which is so easy to fall down, I
Yes.
think. Like, I've come closer to that kind of scene or whatever. I've come closer to that when I've kind of been at a low. And yeah, and I think it's this particularly perhaps heightened for queer people, for gay men in particular, where it's this kind of heightened search for constant pleasure.
Yeah.
Whether that be drugs or sex or whatever. And it's
Yeah.
kind of this constant
search for escape.
yeah, search for escape and pleasure and kind and disassociation, which I think.
But on the sort of the point of comparison, what Rotting in the Sun does with the relationships and the sex is inherently different than when something like Heated Rivalry is doing.
Yeah.
And so I find even the unwitting comparison to be unfair. On both ends, I think it's unfair to compare like the fantasized sex in Heated Rivalry with the idea of like realistic attempt to depict sex in something like Rotting in the Sun, or even like the show that Jordan Firstman is on right now, I Love LA, which
Is he having sex in that?
Yes, he is.
He's having real sex?
It's not unsimulated sex, but it's graphic depictions of gay sex.
Yeah.
But like they have a lot of humor in it, and it's a lot more. It's different.
Because this is the thing for me, I think, that the thing that I do find distancing with something like Heated Rivalry, and I kind of know what you mean about it being unfair to compare it, but also I think the comparison, it would be sad to lose that comparison. Like I kind of think, well, because I think it kind of highlights for me, I think it just, for me, what I enjoy to consume. I would rather consume something that's kind of ugly and humorous, because I actually did find the sex scenes in Heated Rivalry like kind of hot, like they actually are kind of hot. And in both Pillion and Rotting in the Sun, I did not find those sex scenes hot at all. But to me, there's more truth in the not hot, humorous sex.
I think you're right. There is more truth in it.
And I prefer
to
see something that reflects my
and I get that. But my point, I think, that I was making is that, like, you're right, there is truth in those, but, like, that's not what Heated Rivalry is going for. Heated Rivalry isn't going for truth.
Yeah.
It's going for titillation and sensualization, which doesn't really work on me in terms of making me feel engaged or interested or even, like, finding it like sexy. It's not the thing that I find sexy. But I'm fine with it existing. I think that's the point that I'm trying to make. And I think that, yeah, the sex in Rotting in the Sun and even Pillion is trying to do something very, very different. I guess we brought in Pillion now.
Well, I was going to ask you as another segue, has there been any discussion, any online stuff about Pillion at all?
Not as much as I expected to see. I was merely kind of seeing it being confined to the critical circles.
Yeah.
Like reviewers are talking about it, and film nerds, gay film nerds are talking about it. You said something earlier that I find really interesting. You didn't find the sex in Pillion or Rotting in the Sun, like, exciting or sexually
it was not
enticing.
sexy to me, no.
And I think maybe that's an interesting point to think about a little bit, because the show that people are questioning its queerness is making sex sexy. And then the two where the queerness is not as questioned, regardless of the creators or the people involved.
Yeah.
Are not doing that. They're not titillating, which I think is, like, notable, especially.
But I guess it depends who, because I've definitely seen, because I was mildly disappointed by Pillion. I putting it out there now, I loved Pillion.
You want to give us a little recap, since we're going to talk about it now, of what Pillion is? Just
okay, what was I just saying though?
Doesn't matter.
It does. I would love to finish a thought, actually. But,
well, go on, girl, do your show.
No, what was it though? I just want to finish, but what was it? Oh, I can't remember. I hate my life.
Well, we're talking about not finding the sex attractive in Pillion and Rotting in the Sun, as opposed to Heated Rivalry, where the sex is sexy. That's where I interrupted you.
Okay, well, it was just that I think I was going to say eventually, I don't know if this is what I was saying anymore, okay, but I was just going to say eventually something that I loved about Pillion and Rotting in the Sun was that it's capturing life as a gay adult. I particularly liked it in Pillion, how it was so much about his relationship with his family and how it was just like post coming out, like completely post coming out, like not questioned, like that's totally not a thing. And there's something a bit regressive to me about Heated Rivalry, where it's so, you know, it's kind of going back to Brokeback Mountain, kind of closet. Yeah, it's kind of this forbidden love thing, which I guess is like, you know, forbidden love is super popular. It's been popular for a really long time. This is a way of doing it, but it's also kind of an easy way of doing it now, where it's like the closet is kind of, what other reasons could we have for a forbidden love that's not?
I mean, we have
the closet.
We have the closet as a narrative framework.
Yeah.
But like things about like Pillion and Rotting in the Sun, what I find interesting about them is they're about sub-communities in a way. And like there's a queer community operating in Rotting in the Sun that has its own dynamics that's kind of explored in that film. And then there's that also happening in Pillion, and they're not really working within the same molds that are very familiar narratively, you know what I mean? Like people will understand how a closeted story can go or can see the paths because we've had it so many times. And maybe that's also partly why they are more accessible to the mainstream, because they have a framework to think about it.
Yeah, I guess. I find that quite regressive and boring. And
you know, I agree with you. It's like, for me, I think as two queer people who are like living their lives in the real world, we've done this.
Yeah, and we've certainly seen it.
Yeah.
Like, way too much.
But on Pillion, could you actually give us
a
little...
I'm ready.
Are you ready?
I'm ready,
Set up some determination.
So, Pillion is the story of mousy young man who sings in an a cappella.
He discovers he has magic powers.
Oh, don't. He...
It's like Dursley was in the closet the whole time. Sorry.
He's a cappella group that performs in pubs, which I've never seen before. Barbershop quartet.
It felt very northern.
It wasn't northern at all, though. It was set outside of London.
It just felt like, oh, this is very north of you guys. Who does this?
But he's got he's a very timid young man, and he meets a member of a biker gang, but it's kind of
a gay biker gang,
a gay fetish biker gang in a pub. And because he's very timid, I think, and this gay biker guy, played by Alexander Skarsgard, is kind of seizes on that, and they kind of get into
a dom sub relationship.
But it's kind of it's never explicitly, it's not kind of a fully consensual dom sub relationship. Like they never have an explicit conversation of explicitly consents to it.
Right.
And it's kind of the shifting dynamics of that. And that's what I would say it was about. And in some ways, I found it to be a much more interesting forbidden love.
Funnily enough, yeah, I found the thing about Pillion, I found like the essential tenets of like the narrative to be very relatable, because basically it's a story about maybe being overly invested in someone.
Yes.
And then discovering the limits of that actual relationship.
Yes.
And then taking that on. I think something a lot of queer people, especially young queer people entering or exiting their first relationship, have a lot of parallels.
Oh my God, I'm at my 30s. What are you talking about?
Well, the thing about also Pillion, I described it, it's basically Secretary meets Weekend meets maybe a touch of Call Me By Your Name.
I don't get this Call Me By Your Name. Multiple people have said
Mainly because of the ending. You know, like a touch of that. It's like the tragedy of a first love. Really, that is it in broad sweeps. I think.
Go on. Well, I was going to say, I did say earlier I did not find Pillion sexy at all, right? And I didn't find the sex scene sexy.
No.
What I did find sexy was the first scene where I can't remember the character's or the actor's name.
Alexander Skarsgard.
No, the other one.
Dursley? Dudley?
Well, I don't want to...
I think it's Henry something.
Okay, good, because I don't want to, like, play into the mythos. I don't want to mythologize Harry Potter anymore.
I think I'm fine with it, because I feel like we should know where this young man he fought his way out of. I think we should hold it in honor.
Yes, actually.
We name him Dursley of the Harrys.
Oh, shit. There was a scene, the first scene where they'd had sex once, then he goes over to Alexander Skarsgård's house, and Alexander's like, oh, okay, I guess you can cook me dinner. And he kind of basically, very matter-of-factly kind of treats him like shit.
Right.
And just shows him where everything is so he can cook him dinner, eats the dinner. There's a bit where he pats the sofa, the seat next to him, and Henry thinks it's for him, but then the dog gets up and sits there, and it's all kind of really awful and degrading. And I was like, oh my God, this is so hot. I was like, oh my God, I could get into this.
Have you been talking to your therapist?
I have not.
So I was going to say, I think the thing I found really interesting about this film is the way that it was operating. I mean, the film it's about ethics. It's about ethical nuances. It's about boundaries.
Yeah.
Because the thing that goes unaddressed is like the ethics of this relationship.
Yeah.
Because we get the sense that this is this young man's first ever queer relationship for whatsoever. So at least me going into it.
Oh, did you get that impression?
I got that impression.
I didn't get that impression.
When his parents were like setting him up with someone, it doesn't matter, whatever. I think ultimately, I kept questioning like, okay, how into it he is, or like, if like he was into it sexually, or if he was just into the man, where he wanted the guy. I think that there's an element in the sexual scenes that I found uncomfortable because of that, because I was always just like, what's actually the interplay here? Does he desire this sexual relationship in this way, or does he want it in another way that he's sort of settling for here?
So where do you land on
and
the
I kind
whole...
of find the BDSM to be kind of a metaphor.
Well, yeah, like I agree. And also there wasn't really that much BDSM. There was some sort of kink adjacent stuff, which I think is actually very common with the gays, where people like to kind of dress up and stuff. There was a lot of dressing up, but there wasn't actually any actual kink or like pain or...
I mean, not all kink is the same.
No, that's true. I just they didn't go for it in terms of that. I guess they did have like group sex and stuff and like, but my question to you is this: where do you land on the kind of kink negative critique that people have been lobbying around?
So that's really interesting. I really like this film. As I was watching it, I felt like it was kink negative right up until the last scene, where we find out like, he is interested in kink and will continue sort of pursuing that. And I was like,
now
I
liked that.
But now understands his boundaries. I was like, okay, cool. I think because spoilers. Spoilers all. That like saved it for me. Yeah.
Well, it's also a resolution to the main tension.
Because for a while, I felt like I was unhappy with the fact that, like, we have all these sort of ideas about kink, right, culturally, and all these stigmas around kink. And I was really scared of how much the film was going to bring that in there. And I wasn't comfortable. And maybe that's the point of it, of the fact that it was playing with those stigmas, those associations, and making me wonder, like, how actually do you feel about kink movie? But I will say that I would have felt better about it if we got, like, one scene where, like, it was sexy. You know?
I think that there was a sex scene where they have sex in the woods or something.
Yeah.
In front of everyone. I think that was supposed to be sexy. I just think...
Yeah, I found that sad. I found that scene, like, really sad.
Why was it sad?
Because I felt like the manipulation involved in it. The manipulation in... He, like, fucked this other guy first and then made him watch, and they had to like break him and see it and then give it to him, which I know is like maybe part of the dynamic of the kink. But like I just felt like it was sad that we had to get that before we got to like what he wanted, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah, I guess so.
Like, there's a sadness about it. I felt like a lot of this here's the other thing, like I was saying, like I didn't know whether he wanted this kink relationship. Like what I wanted out of this film was to see him be more enthusiastic and into it. I always felt like he was enthusiastic about like Alexander Skarsgard and this is what Alexander Skarsgard were into, and in the end I found out no, he's also into it actually too, you know? That was like the question for me. That was the tension, which I think was like really deftly sort of handled. But I would have liked for there to be a scene where we can see that he was being really sexually fulfilled, where it felt like he was doing all of this for a reason, you know?
I disagree slightly. I think I agree, but the ending worked for me. I kind of agree, but the ending also worked for me because it resolved that tension.
Okay.
So it was kind of like, is he into this? Oh, yes, he is. So that's what I enjoyed the way that the tension was resolved at the end. I do know what you mean. Maybe it would have been good to kind of maybe signpost a little bit more that he was into it.
I think ultimately the fact that it did, I mean, I'm contradicting myself here. I think maybe I've argued myself into being convinced that I actually like what they did.
Well, because I enjoyed it so much because I found it I found it very funny and very tense at the same time.
Yeah.
And it reminded me, this is such a weird comparison, but the thing I love the most about the film Bridesmaids, which is a film I really love, is I found it very funny and I really related to the kind of lingering depression. You would kind of laugh with your head and feel depressed with your heart. That's how I felt about Bridesmaids. And that's something I really love about that film. I think that film's really underrated. I think it captures that really well. And I thought this was the only thing I've seen that's like similar, where I was laughing, but also very tense. I didn't know where things were going to... I suspected that things weren't going to go horribly.
You were into the journey of it.
But I really enjoyed that tension.
So that's why I said I think I'm kind of like talking myself into this idea. I think I ultimately really appreciate, I think now, the tension, now that we've talked about it, because if I end up viewing this film the way I said, as a metaphor or an exploration of that first ever romantic entanglement relationship, that first sort of brush of queer intimacy, and you're trying to understand your own lines and your own boundaries and your own desires, having this film kind of in the text deal with that, but then in the over also having this ethical line with the kink stuff, and all the associations that I, as a member of community, with my own sort of hang-ups and whatever, bring into it when I'm thinking about kink, and all the stigmas that are around it. I think it's actually doing something really interesting in the way that it's using that to parallel the awkwardness and the unsurety that you have in that first relationship, or at least that I had in that first relationship, which is why I connected with this film a lot. Yeah, I think you made a point earlier before we started recording, which is about the gay sex essence in media.
Could we, just before we go on to that, could I say one more thing about Pillion?
Go on.
My thing about it potentially being seen as kink negative is that I can see where people are coming from. I think because I really got into like, I don't think I've actually even seen 50 Shades Freed, but I got really into like 50 Shades as...
Did you?
Not seriously. I was very into the 50 Shades discourse.
Okay.
I was very into like Folding Ideas has these 3 50 Shades of Grey like video essays that I've seen like a billion times. Okay. And it was a similar thing with we were talking about Fellow Travellers last week, and I kind of thought that was another attempt at this kind of story that it didn't really work for me.
Yeah, it didn't resonate with you.
But I was happy to finally see this kind of dom sub story done right, I thought, or done well at least, where essentially if you're kind of just telling a dom sub story straight, you don't want to see a good dom, like someone who would be like a good caring dom in real life, who is good at BDSM and good at, working out boundaries and having conversations, having like explicit conversations before.
That's not the part of the interaction, so you're saying?
Well, that's not the fantasy. And I think part of what they were doing here was showing you the emotional toll, because I found everything with Henry, if that's his name, to be very realistic, and everything with Alexander Skarsgard to be this kind of heightened fantasy. Okay. The way he kind of just disappears at the end. Yeah. It was kind of like exploring what the emotional toll of your sub-fantasy would actually take.
Yeah, and then you discovering the boundaries that you need to do it again.
Exactly, yeah.
I get what you're saying.
And I think it would be a completely different film, which should come along eventually, that would subvert, show you someone who is actually good at being a caring dom. But no one's taken an interest in that side of it yet, which is interesting.
Yeah, and like with this film, I just don't think this is what the film is interested in doing.
But another thing I was thinking of, it was really short episodes. It was like a gay guy and a girl, and she's a dominatrix on Netflix. That was another bad dom piece of media. And so, yeah.
God, I haven't seen that one in ages.
No, me neither. I only watched season 1 because the ending was so bad. I was quite enjoying it, but then it ended really badly.
I remember not liking it very much.
Yeah, I liked it up until the final episode, and I was like, this is really bad. Bonding,
that's the one. Yeah.
And I think actually it'd be really important to see...
Like a subverted...
a subverted, like a good dom in media.
Yeah.
And it's a shame that hasn't been done yet. But that just wasn't this, and I'm glad it wasn't this.
Yeah, I think we as a culture probably have a lot more to unpack in terms of masculinity and the way that it maps onto all of these things, and the way that it's utilized within, I guess, erogenous or pleasurable experiences, and what am I, that the word I'm looking for?
I think
Within
so.
sexual situations.
Yeah.
And the way that like those are different things, you know? We're just not there yet in terms of our awareness as a culture. So I think you're right. It'll probably take a while for us to get to more interesting variations of the sub and dom dynamics in queer relationships. But I think this is a good entry, and I love what this one's doing.
And it's interesting as well, I think, because no one's been willing to admit so far that like subs are usually the ones in charge. I remember seeing a documentary once about this like very extreme, and I can't remember what it was called, but it was just on TV. I cannot remember what it was called.
Doesn't matter, go on.
But it was this very extreme sub lady couple. There was a man and a woman. He was a dom, she was a sub. And like towards the end, they start to reveal that she's actually in charge and he's doing this stuff to please her. And I think that is overwhelmingly the dynamic.
It's very Phantom Thread.
Oh, is it? So I haven't seen Phantom Thread.
Oh, you should watch Phantom. You'll love Phantom Thread.
Oh, really?
That has like a secret sub-dom relationship.
Where the sub's in charge?
Yeah. And like you
Okay.
don't really find out until the end. It's really, you should watch Phantom Thread.
Oh, spoiler alert.
Oh, it doesn't
Spoiler
matter.
alert for so many things.
I'm sorry. You should have watched this film, bitch.
Oh, yeah. Have a life. If people that care too much about spoilers is like, go out and like make a friend.
I get you. Like I personally don't care about spoilers. I will try to adhere to people's boundaries. But also I think it's been like 5 years, guys. Like you should. If
Sometimes
you don't know
people
by
are like
now.
spoilers for things that happen in real life. People are like, oh, Frost Nixon spoilers. I'm like,
Chernobyl, snow.
Yeah.
God, that's so stupid.
But you were gonna ask me about the.
Yes, I was gonna ask you. So we were having we had a little bit of a talk about this earlier about the idea of this gay sex essence that's happening all across of our screens. First of all, ungodly. But no, how do you feel? Where do you think this is coming from? Why do you think this is the moment?
I really wonder. I don't know. I think.
People are sick of drag queens. They're like, stick it in.
Yeah, maybe. Well, that was an interesting thing. Speaking of black people, in
We weren't.
well, we did a while ago.
Where's this coming from?
I was just thinking, what you don't see in something like Drag Race, when you do get femme representation and stuff, which is probably the most popular kind of gay media that we get, is Drag Race. What you don't get in that environment of like competition is those types of queer people being genuinely sexy. Like,
oh yeah, we don't really get intimacy or desire. Yeah, you're right.
and they're not supposed to be. They're attractive and sexy in kind of the abstract when they're like in woman mode.
Yeah, it's an abstract, and when there's like,
And when they're like on stage performing that, but
and
not,
yeah,
you know.
Yeah, you're right.
And
And like
then-
when we have a moment where it's just like there's a pretty guy there.
Yeah.
Then we talk about them in almost in isolation. Does it, you know what I mean? It kind of doesn't actually interact with the show in any sort of meaningful, significant way. It's just sort of like a bonus. You know, does that make sense?
And that's what the thing was in Fellow Travelers.
Yeah.
There's
no sex.
there
on
was
Drag
a
Race.
sub.
There's
No,
sex on Drag
there's sometimes romance.
Yeah.
There's not really sex. And there's like sex as a joke, you know, there's Lydia
there's-
Butthole Collins.
And there's sexy, but like a sexy fantasy.
Yeah.
Sexy fantasy of something, you know.
And it's also that kind of sexy, it's like camp sexy, Susan Sontag camp
Mm.
sexy, where it's not sexy, you don't feel titillated, but you can recognize the signifiers of sexy that are kind of being constructed for you on stage.
So are you saying that like being in an environment where like something like RuPaul's Drag Race is the queer show?
Well, that's your
is the
femme
queer
representation.
Medium. Well, it's your queer medium. It's your premier queer
Yeah,
show.
yeah.
And that doesn't really feature gay sex and gay desire in that way, but more so as a topic, as an experience, rather than like something that's being displayed. Do you think so? This is a reaction, this sort of influx of gay sex on screen?
No, well, I don't know.
Not intended, but do you think it's like what's happened because we haven't had it for a while that people are just like, okay, let's put the sex.
I think it could be that. I think maybe queer people kind of desexualize a little bit. With that, I think, what I was going to say was I thought it was interesting in Fellow Travelers that they kind of gave, that's the one kind of thing that I can think of off the top of my head where they had like a femme person. There was a subplot basically with, there's like...
I'm not sure about this, like why you brought up the idea of like the femininity. Why is that?
In Fellow Travelers?
No, just in general with this topic. And
Well,
it's really interesting.
Well, what I was going to say about Fellow Travelers was just that there's the main story is these two masked white guys having very explicit sex. Then there's this subplot of a black guy who is constantly, there's this thing they were doing on these prestige dramas for a while. It was like, and here's what a black person would have been doing at this time. And he's kind of doing that. And he's got this romance with a drag queen who's like very femme. And that's kind of the one thing I can think of as like a femme love story, kind of with a femme participant, that's been in these kind of shows. And
I mean, you saying that just makes me think, I mean, the reason that's happening is because if feminine or effeminate gay men are just not thought of as sexy.
Yeah, and I just
so
think
that's not folded in.
Yeah, and I think that's one thing I really didn't like about Fellow Travelers. It seemed like box ticking. So
Wait,
it's like,
so like,
here's what a black person would be doing, here's what a femme person would be doing.
But in terms of like the rate of gay sex, you know, like the amount of gay sex that we're seeing sort of occupy the media right now.
It's very white, it's very mass.
You know, so do you think that's like the solution that they came up with? It was just like, let's eliminate this idea of femininity away from queer men and to try and like salvage the idea of sexy gay man?
No, to be honest, I think why this has come up right now is just because of the state of the media landscape where people are really fighting for our attention. And so they're kind of pushing things more and more. I think Euphoria was actually probably a really big kind of the straight equivalent of this stuff, and Sydney Sweeney and stuff, like her sex scenes in particular. I think that was kind of kickstarted this in a way. And so I think this is a way to capture an audience and this is who we think they'll like. And it's kind of essentially porn. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of, and it's designed to be
men.com
cut up and posted on
Tumblr
X.
and X. You know, I'm just like more so interested about like why this is happening in this moment. Why there's like suddenly a lot.
I think it's the streaming. All these different factors coming together of like basically streaming, social media, because I think social media is like the biggest competition for prestige drama. That's really taking eyeballs away from them.
But like, so then do you think like because of like the queerness of social media they're responding to?
I think it's partly that, yes, partly the queerness of social media, but I think it's just an attempt to kind of shock and get eyeballs. Shock, titillate, grab attention. I think
I'm not sure I agree with that.
Because also that's one thing that TV can offer that social media can't is explicit, like fairly explicit sex. Because social media is famously like just so neutered all the time, even in terms of language. You know, people are talking about PDF files and stuff.
Yeah, I don't know if I agree with that. I can't really give you a reason why. I just don't know if I just put it majorly in social media that way. I think there's like, I think this is. I mean,
partly people are not watching TV because they're watching.
Yeah, but like that's irrelevant. People are watching TV later. They're just not watching on the same mediums, and they're not watching it all through streaming services. So we're not actually getting.
I don't know. Like we're going through a recession.
Go on.
Well, we're going through a recession, and people aren't forking out for entertainment when they can get it for free on their phone.
Yeah, that's
especially young people.
Yeah, so in terms of like the rates of people actually watching these things, I don't think they're that different. I think it's just like not people are watching it through Netflix; they're just watching it through torrents. I think they are.
Gen Z don't know how to torrent.
I disagree with you there. I think like this is partly a response to the post-Obama age sort of coming to fruition now. You know, I think this is a response to something like the globalization of specifically Korean and Japanese media in the West. And I think, yeah, because something like Rivalry is just like following that mode. But I think this is also like, when I say it's a response to like the Obama era kind of influx of queer talent where there was like a slight opening for queer people to enter places within the industry. That was a few years back. But like those people, we're now seeing the effect of some of that work come up on screen, even if it is at a weirdly inopportune moment politically, if you know what I'm talking about.
Well, but do you also think that it's a reaction to the Obama years being, you know, the Obama years and
the Biden years actually,
and to some extent the Biden, but I think it really started with the Obama years and it kind of carried on into the Biden years a bit. This attempt to kind of absorb queer people into the mainstream, so you get these kind of de-sexed.
Yeah, and I think in the Biden years, there was a slight attempt to return to that discourse. So I think there was like an opening there. I think this is also maybe a result of something like the pornification of our culture. A lot more explicit things, whether you think that's good or bad, are out there. So much so that we have the UK government trying to take it away from us. Fuck you guys. I think it's like all of that sort of mixing into the stew.
But I also think it's potentially, I would like to think of it as a bit of a countercultural reaction to the kind of mainstream conservatism that's like really come back even in the Biden years, like, yeah, Biden was president, but conservatism had only gotten stronger and stronger in that time, you know, to the point they won.
So, like, it's like a bit of a backlash to the conservatism in our culture, is that there's, like, more people willing to be like, no, fuck it, let's show desire in a way that we haven't.
Yeah, and I think it could also be quite a cynical backlash, because these things could be shocking to a conservative audience, get cancelled, which would eventually bring in cancelled in quotation marks, which would eventually, you know, bring more eyeballs to it.
Yeah. I mean, for me, it's funny. I always think about these things in terms of adding to the backlog, adding to the history of queer text. I think it's good that, like, in 20 years' time, there'll be a gay kid who will have this kind of thing. We'll have Pillion to look at, and we'll have, like, He's a Rivalry to look at. And so to me, that's, like, what I hold on to.
Yeah.
Adding to the pile, whether I think it's the best or not, as long as it has some good in it, I'm fine with it. But yeah, I like Pillion.
I really liked Pillion. I really liked Rotting in the Sun.
Yeah, and I will say, I think we specifically brought those up because if you like Heated Rivalry, and we're two people who don't necessarily like Heated Rivalry that much, but, like, if you do, I think these are some other things that you might want to look at as well. They're different.
Yeah.
They're very, very different, but like, they do similar things and explore them from a different angle and from a different queer perspective that is worth thinking about.
Yeah, I agree.
Is there any other media you want to give the girls? The Fujoshis that found us through the Hockey Podcast recommendation network, I guess.
Yeah, no, I can't really think of anything else off the top of my head. I was trying to list things. I'm thinking about writing an essay about this. And I was trying to list some things earlier, but I can't. These are the main ones, I think. I do find it, actually, I would say this is kind of going back to the golden age of queer. Not golden age, but it's kind of going back to the origins, the Bronze Age of queer television, which is Queer as Folk, which was very explicit sex, and culture was more conservative then. So I'm liking this theory of mine that, like, it's a bit of a backlash to conservative culture, because that's how we in the late 90s, like, that's how the kind of first big gay show on TV, like, they were, like, rimming each other on TV, you know what I mean? And then there was this kind of Will and Grace, Ryan Murphy.
Yeah, there was droppings. What do you want to say? There was like a trail that was left behind, and then where, like, it was like Will and Grace. But
it was very sanitized, very, like, desexual.
It was very sanitized. Yeah, these things end up getting, like, more and more milquetoast as they go on.
Yeah.
Eventually, we'll end up in a moment like this again, where, like, people are like, no, actually, no, let's show anal.
Yeah, because there was another. When I was thinking of Ryan Murphy just now, I was thinking of this stupid sitcom there was for a while, where it was like two guys who adopted baby.
Oh yes, New Normal.
New Normal, yeah.
New Normal.
And that was, they had some dirty jokes in that, actually. I remember there was a bit where, like, there's a kids party. This is the one episode I saw.
But this is like Obama era enmeshment, homonormativity, gay sort of moment.
There was a kids party where the little girls eat lube.
We're not gonna. I can't onboard this right now. I never watched this and I refuse to.
Killed me.
But no, that was like the Obama era kind of. We're finding a place for these queers to belong, and
they can have a house and two kids.
Yeah, and that kind of worked a little bit for some people. Yeah, and that is why we're seeing a lot of white people occupy sort of these front positions. And now we're yelling to be like, no, let's do more black people, let's do more brown people, let's do more.
Yeah, let's do some more black and brown people. That would be nice.
It just would be nice if this moment involved just two brown people. It would be nice if it involved one brown person. I can't help but say I'm a little bitter that this is getting this, an Interview with the Vampire, which is like a vastly superior show with a lot more black talent on screen, is not getting this.
Do you not think Interview with the Vampire had its moment when it first came out, though?
Compared to Heated Rivalry?
I don't know. I'm asking you.
No, I mean, it had its moment, and I think but it's the kind of thing that was like it's like a sleeper hit. I think it's got a second season by the grace of God, and I think it got its third season that's coming out by the grace of God as well. Okay. Because, you know, it's AMC, it's not the most popular show, but it is like really critically well received and loved, and has like an audience. But it's not the biggest. It's not as big. Like Heated Rivalry, you could very clearly say, I think, is the biggest gay show to come out in a while.
Wow.
And I think if it is the biggest gay show since Glee, let's say.
Oh, God. No, that can't be true.
I'm just saying, but if it is the biggest gay show since Glee, then we should, you know, take a moment to look at all the other gay stuff that's happening, like Pillion, you know, and be like, okay, how is it doing it differently? And what can we take from this as well?
Yeah.
And because a lot of the other stuff is lacking. And you know what? We didn't even talk about the fact that Pillion still has its gaps. That was still an all-white cast. Yeah. Another thing that we can add to the pile of like, well, there's no black person involved in this again. Yeah. I just liked what it was doing a little better.
Yeah, no, I liked what it was doing a lot more. Yeah, I mean, I'll overlook things that, I don't like if the product is good.
And you know what? I'm happy for the pups out there that they have their own representation. Pup
Were
pride.
there pups in it? I can't remember.
I think there was a pup. There was one puppy man.
I'm sure there was a pup. It was everything but. If there wasn't a pup, it was like literally neck down pup, and then they just weren't wearing the mask. Do you know what I mean? Like,
well, I saw the mask. I remember at least once. But yeah, I think
that doesn't surprise me actually. I missed it.
Watch Pillion. We'd recommend you all. But let's give them a quick sort of as we round up this episode. We've been talking for a second. What should we do? The 4 questions.
Yeah.
Okay.
For Pillion.
Yes.
Okay.
Pillion. Victor, can you tell me your straightest moment of Pillion?
I like the dad. I like the mum and the dad. Actually, that's one thing I'll just add quickly. I really liked the relationship with the mum, where she was both very nurturing and a bit overbearing, and it was kind of like, she wasn't kind of demonized. I really liked the kind of, in such a fairly small role, I really liked how it was. It was
a very tender role in a way.
Yeah, it was both managed to be tender and complicated, and I really liked that. So but I would say straightest moment is the dad. The sweet dad.
Yeah, for me the straightest moment is the way they, after he came from the setup date, they were like, so how'd it go? He's nice.
Yes, oh my god,
that's so cute.
Yeah.
I don't know why that's the straightest moment, but
because that's how straight people are.
Yeah, they're like setting you up on dates.
Yeah.
All right, can you give me your queerest moment of Pillion?
Oh, it was all of their little butts poking out of their little things, their little spandexes. That's definitely the queerest moment.
My queerest moment is when that little bitch sat next to him and was like, so, does he kiss you?
Oh, yeah. Fuck off, Jake Shears.
Like, you little fag. Fuck you, Jake. No, that was very cunty.
Yeah.
Can you, Victor, give me your winner of the movie Pillion?
Oh, good God, I hope his name is Henry. I liked Henry. I found the ending to be, eventually, at the time, I was a bit like, still second guessing everything. But later on, I was like, I'm going to take this as a positive ending.
Yeah.
I like this. I think he's the winner. Also, the actor, excellent performance.
Great performer. I was going to give it to the person who gave him a buzz cut because, God, that helped.
I liked his hair. I think his hair was the best.
And he's one of those people who's like very character actor face. Who's you have a very interesting face to just look at for like a couple of hours.
It was really nice seeing someone like him as a lead.
Yeah, but I was going to say, I think that buzz cut really they worked my girl out, thank God. I was like, you finally look good. Good sister, good on you. Can you give me your loser of Pillion?
I guess the mum kind of lost.
Because she died.
Spoilers.
It's not a joke, just a statement.
Maybe Alexander Skarsgard, because he'll never have love.
Yeah. He ran away, went into the night. Who's my loser of this episode? That poor guy who went on one date, was really happy. He seemed really nice.
Yeah.
I hope he found someone.
They got me. I can't remember what it said anymore, but they really got me. He was wearing a t-shirt that said something, and I was like, I hate this guy. It was some sort of slogan-y t-shirt in like rainbow colors or something, and I was like, I fucking hate this guy.
I want you dead.
Yeah.
It's Pillion, good movie, but yeah, that's my loser of the episode. Was there any last words you wanna tell the people?
Follow me on Instagram on Rough Copy Zine at Rough Copy Zine.
Okay.
Because I'm going to write an essay about this shit.
And, a lot of you showed up to listen to us talk about Heated Rivalry last episode. Hello. Hi, how are you? My name is Dr. Colin. I am the host, referential.
I'm Victor and I'm a nice man.
I'm doing a thing.
Oh, sorry.
Thank you. Watch your mouth.
Okay.
It's really nice to meet you. Please leave a rating and review if it's a good one. And hit subscribe, and share it. Share it with more friends. Not just the ones who love hockey, but also maybe the ones who love...
anal.
Football, rugby,
tennis. Oh, Challengers tennis. Yeah.
Challengers tennis. I can't think of any other more sports movies. Field of Dreams.
Racquetball.
Field of Dreams. Baseball.
Oh, baseball.
Oh, yes. I guess capitalism is a sport.
Yeah, it certainly is.
Right. Well, anyway, yes. Like, subscribe. Thank you. Goodbye.
Bye.
Pillion.